These days, it seems like cruel people have power. It's not enough to be smart, skilled, or work hard. It comes down to who is ready to break the rules and do whatever it takes to win. People do it in work, politics, and even in their personal lives. Why do cruel people often get ahead while others fall behind? That's the question. But does that mean we have to give up our values in order to succeed? Is having morals a weakness in a world that rewards people who break the rules? There may be more to the truth than we think. There is no such thing as bad power. How we use it makes all the difference. We'll talk about how the world of power works and why some people tend to move up the ladder more quickly in this video. We will talk about Friedrich Nietzsche's ideas about right and wrong, the Übermensch, and how knowing about power can help you become great. Stay with us, and we'll talk about what makes some people successful and how you can use that information to help you on your own path. The things you learn might shock you. A lot of the time, history shows us a trend. People who aren't afraid to break the rules and be cruel get to the top. They wait until told to do something. They get what they need. Many of us sit back and wait for justice to reward our hard work. But these people take advantage of chances that other people don't even see. But why? At first glance, it looks like the world is set up to reward cruel people. People who follow the rules often fall behind in business, politics, and even daily life. They do their best, play by the rules, and are honest, but they still don't seem to be good enough. On the other hand, people who lie, cheat, and hurt others often succeed. It doesn't look right, does it? What if I told you that this isn't just happening by chance? It's just the way people are. Our evolutionary mindset and the way we organize our societies are based on competing for resources. When things are tight, those who don't think twice are often the ones who succeed. Not waiting for things to be fair to them doesn't bother them. They make decisions without thinking about what might happen, and that puts them ahead of people who are still deciding what is right or wrong. This doesn't mean that being cruel is always the best thing to do or the only way to get ahead, but it's important to know why these traits help people do well. And there is a clear trend when we look at history. From cruel emperors to mean CEOs, people who are cruel tend to rise, while people who are kind can fall. Is this fair? Perhaps, but that's how power really works. We need to understand power in order to figure out why some people seem to do well while others have a hard time. We need to look at what power is in order to get to the bottom of this. Friedrich Nietzsche, a philosopher whose ideas were often criticized, said that power is neither good nor bad by nature. It is what it is. Power is like gravity or time in that it is a natural power. It doesn't mean anything, so we can use it however we want. Nietzsche came up with the ideas of master morality and slave morality to help us understand how power works. These two moral systems explain why people who want to get power usually do so by being cruel, while people who want to be fair and kind are left behind. Master morality is the strong's morals, the people in charge, the people who won. This set of morals is based on things like being strong, brave, ambitious, and able to control others. For the masters, something is good if it makes them stronger and lets them change the world to their liking. They don't need other people's praise because they know how valuable they are. They don't think it's important to protect weakness. It's something to get past. But slave morality is the morality of those who are abused, the helpless ones, the ones who can't directly make things happen. In slave morals, humility, obedience, and self-sacrifice are praised more than strength. It teaches that pain is good and that power is inherently bad. Nietzsche thought this was a psychic change made by people who couldn't control others, a method made to help them stay alive in a world run by powerful people. But here's the hard truth. Slave morality doesn't stop the rise of the cruel. It actually makes it possible. When slave morality shames ambition and the desire for power, it gives power to people who don't care about morality at all. People with a good heart pause, but people who follow master morality take charge. We live in a world where hesitating often means losing. People who are cruel are often the ones who act without thinking. They don't think about whether what they're doing is right or wrong. They will do anything to get what they want. But that doesn't mean we should give up on our values. We should instead ask, is it possible to be strong and honest at the same time? Is it possible to get powerful without becoming cruel? To answer this, we need to learn more about the minds of people who become powerful, the ones who refuse to let their problems get them down. They know how power works, but they don't rush into it. They don't let other people tell them what to believe. Instead, they make their own fate. Imagine a huge desert where being alive doesn't depend on being fair or nice. It's about being tough, flexible, and ready to do whatever it takes. The cat just goes ahead and hunts without asking. The storm doesn't say sorry for the damage it causes. Nature doesn't reward being good. It benefits people who can keep going. The same is true for human life. Even with all of our rules and laws, the basic fight for life is still going on. People who get to be powerful often have one thing in common. They are cruel, not brutality, but the ability to make up your mind quickly and without thinking. This isn't a mistake. It's an evolutionary trait that has helped people and nations take control of a world that doesn't wait for those who aren't ready. Psychologists have spent a lot of time researching the traits that make people successful in competitive settings. We see the same trends over and over again. A lot of drive, not being affected by fear, and most controversially, not caring as much about people who get in the way. But this doesn't mean that all wealthy people are psychopaths or bad. It does, however, mean that a lot of them have traits that let them act without the mental limits that stop other people. What does this mean for us? Should we give up our morals to be successful? Not all the time, but we need to know that power is not about being fair. It's about people who know how to play the game well. Now the question is, are we ready to learn the rules and follow them? Before we go any further, if you're interested in how power really works, you might want to watch the video, What Machiavelli Teaches Us About the Dark Side. It goes into more detail about the cruel strategies that historical people used and how knowing these strategies can help you get along in the real world. Wait for the next part. As we've seen, cruel people often get to the top because they know one important thing. Power isn't about being fair or decent. Who is ready to make a choice, take a chance, and do whatever it takes to get ahead? Does that mean that morals don't matter in the world of power, though? Should we give up our ideals just to be successful? There's more to the answer than yes or no. In a lot of ways, morality is just a set of rules and standards that people make up to keep things in order. We learn early on that being fair, kind, and honest are good traits to have, and that people who follow the rules will be honored. As we age, though, we can see where this system is weak. The most honest people don't always lead, and the best workers don't always have the most money. When the rules don't seem to work, what do? What happens when being fair doesn't help you win? Nietzsche thought that power and morality were not opposites, but rather two sides of the same fight. He didn't think that morality should be totally given up. Instead, he said we should rethink how we think about power and morals. He said that power is not inherently bad. It's a natural force that exists no matter how we use it. The key is to understand it, handle it, and use it in a way that helps us instead of letting it rule us. The idea that the world is fair is one of the biggest lies people believe today. We are told from a very young age that good people get lucky and that if we do what the rules say, we will find happiness. Things seem to go the other way more often in the real world, though. People who are kind, work hard, and follow the rules are falling behind. On the other hand, people who are ready to trick, abuse, or cheat others often get to the top. This break in the system is not a bug. It has to do with the system. Nietzsche said that fairness is only a fiction, a story we tell ourselves to make sense of the chaos in the world. Power isn't just given out based on ability. It's taken, fought for, and often kept by people who know how the game is played better than others. People who are ready to break the rules usually have the most power. People who don't understand that power is neutral are the ones who have to struggle. However, this doesn't mean we should give up all of our values. It doesn't mean we should stop being kind, honest, and trustworthy. Power is a game that you can understand without becoming a slave to it. Power is not fundamentally bad. That much is true. It has no meaning. It's how it's used that counts. This can be thought of in terms of the idea of strategic empathy. You can understand other people's intentions, read them deeply, and guess what they'll do next without being manipulative yourself if you have strategic empathy. It's about using what you know about how people act to get through life without losing your own ethics. In other words, it's about being smart and careful about how you use your power. Most people are ruled by fear. Fear of failing, fear of being turned down, and fear of being alone. They can't move decisively or take advantage of opportunities when they come up because of these fears. On the other hand, cruel people build up their own strength. They are willing to be uncomfortable, take risks, and go their own way, even when others don't agree with them. They don't wait for permission before acting. Instead, they make chances where none exist. It is clear to them that power means having control over oneself, not over other people. But this is where it gets hard to tell the difference between being cruel and being smart. To be powerful, you have to face uncomfortable facts, make hard choices, and sometimes leave bad relationships or situations. But that doesn't mean being cruel or uncaring is a sign of power. It means being strong enough to make tough decisions without second thoughts and knowing when and how to use your power. The way they gain power is what sets the cruel who rise to power apart from the cruel who fall hard. Most of the time, people who use fear, manipulation, and abuse to get power don't last long. They go up and down quickly. Nietzsche said that making things is the real key to power. The people who build lasting power are the ones who add value, whether it's through a business, an idea, or a cause. Their power is earned, so they don't need to trick people to get it. It can't be taken by force. You have to be able to make something that other people want. Here's where the idea of the Übermensch, or Overman, comes in. Nietzsche's idea of the Übermensch is not about power or raw force. It's about getting past yourself. The Übermensch is someone who goes beyond what most people think is right or wrong. They make their own values and decide what their own way is. This person doesn't act out of nervousness, fear, or a need for approval from others. They are instead driven by a strength that comes from inside them. The Übermensch doesn't want to control other people. Instead, they want to go beyond what they can do and make something bigger than themselves. They play a game that has no end, not one that does. The finite game is all about getting the most points possible, but the endless game is about making something that will last and mean something. When an Übermensch plays the endless game, they don't just take, they make things. What does this mean for us? How can we get around in a world that rewards cruel people without turning into them? You can find the answer by seeing power as a tool instead of a threat. Power is something that can be used to make things, not break them. It's not about making other people do what you want. It's about making your own future. You have to know the rules, play carefully, and get good at the game without letting it take over your life. When used properly, power can lead to unimaginable greatness. The world around us can be built, made, and changed with its help. We get to choose how to use it, though. Before we go any further, if you want to learn more about power and the bad side of strategy, read What Machiavelli Teaches Us About the Dark Side. We talk about the cruel methods that history's most successful leaders used and how you can use them in your own life in this video. You have to watch it. Let's learn more about Nietzsche's most extreme idea, the Übermensch, or Overman, now that we've talked about the rise of cruel people and how power affects success. This idea goes against the very basis of traditional morals and presents a completely different way of looking at life and power. The idea of the Übermensch is based on going beyond the limits that society puts on people. In this book, the main idea is to break free from societal ideas of right and wrong and make your own way in the world. The Übermensch doesn't follow the rules or look for support from other people. Instead, they are unique people who decide for themselves what is important to them and do what they want. They don't give in to what other people want, instead using their strength, imagination, and will to power to make their own path. Nietzsche thought that the Übermensch was the best that people could be. This person is not outside of morals in the sense of being bad or wicked. Instead, the Übermensch goes beyond what is morally right or wrong. They know that morals are not absolute facts, but rather the result of events and ideas in the past and present. People who are Übermensch reject the morals that society imposes on them and instead make their own. These values are unique to them and reflect their journey and view of the world. The way Nietzsche thought about power changes at this point. For the Übermensch, power doesn't mean controlling other people or making them do what they want. It's about mastering yourself, which means keeping your urges, desires, and feelings in check. The Übermensch tries to get past their flaws and limits so they can not only stay alive in the world, but also change it the way they want. Friedrich Nietzsche said that the will to power is what makes people live. Not only do they want to rule or dominate other people, but they also want to grow, create, and beat themselves. That's what drives people to aim for greatness, to reach their fullest potential, and to go beyond the limits of who they are now. Someone who accepts this drive and doesn't use their will to power to control other people, but to make their own life what they want it to be, is an Übermensch. The Übermensch is different from the victim mindset in many ways. If someone thinks they are victims of their situation, society, or other people, they will always feel passive and powerless. The Übermensch, on the other hand, doesn't want to believe that they are helpless against anyone or anything. They are fully responsible for their life and what they do. People like that don't wait for chances to come to them. They make their own and find their own way. But it's not easy to make your own way. It takes a lot of mental and emotional power. It takes guts to go against the crowd, break social rules, and choose options that other people might not understand or agree with. The Übermensch doesn't care what other people think because they know that real power comes from inside. These people are not swayed by what other people think or by societal pressures or popular views. They decide how much they're worth. This is where the idea of the Übermensch really shines. In the usual sense, it's not about being a great leader. In other words, it's about being a leader in your own life, someone who makes their own purpose and doesn't depend on outside validation or approval. It's not important to the Übermensch to please other people or fit into society's mold. They live to make something that shows who they really are and to express their own special potential. The path to becoming an Übermensch is not about staying away from pain or trouble. For the Übermensch, dealing with problems, challenges, and even pain is part of the process of getting stronger. The Übermensch gets stronger and more resilient through hardship and struggle. These people know that pain is a normal part of life and can be used to make them stronger. These people don't try to avoid pain or suffering. Instead, they face it head-on and use it to make their own way forward. Nietzsche's philosophy is based on this thought of getting past oneself. To become an Übermensch, you have to keep pushing the limits of your own ability and challenging yourself all the time. The Übermensch is never happy with the way things are. They're always looking for ways to boost their growth and become better people. What about people who don't choose this path though? What about people who play it safe, follow the rules, and do what everyone else does? Nietzsche's answer is clear. These people are not living real lives. They're not living as they really are. Instead, they are living by the rules that other people have set for them. They are not making their own fate. Instead, society, religion, or tradition have set out a way for them to follow. To live honestly, or as an Übermensch, you have to reject these outside forces that try to hold you back. It means going against society's morals and making your own that are based on your real wants, goals, and vision for your life. The Übermensch doesn't have to follow other people. They are their own leaders. They make their own decisions and depend on themselves. You might now be wondering, how can we live this out in our own lives? It's important to begin small. First, ask yourself if you really believe the things you've been told and follow the rules. Are they really yours? Are they someone else's? Start making your own beliefs and choose things that are in line with who you really are. Be brave. Take chances. Don't worry about failing or being turned down. Instead of wanting other people to like you, you should want your own approval. Set your own goals for success. Along the way, there will be things that will make it hard, but the way of the Übermensch is the way to real power. It's the way to master yourself, make things, and change. The Übermensch is the highest level of human ability in the end. It's not about being mean just for the sake of being cruel. It's about going beyond the limits that society puts on you and making your own life. Mastering yourself, giving in to your will to power, and becoming the best person you can be are all parts of it. What Machiavelli teaches us about the dark side is a great book to read if you want to learn how to go beyond what society expects of you and reach your full potential. This movie looks at the cruel tactics that history's most important people used and shows you how you can use these lessons in your own life right now. Watch it right now. As we wrap up, remember that power is not always bad. You decide how to use it since it's a tool. There is no easy way to become an Ubermensch, but there is a way to master yourself, make things, and be truly free. By accepting your inner power, you can go beyond what society says is possible and make your own future. Ask questions, learn new things, and keep moving forward. Thanks for seeing. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if this movie changed the way you think about happiness and power. Don't forget to check back for more tips on how to take on life.